Leo rising. How you doing, Leo? This is your reading for the Pisces new moon that happened today. Apologies, the 28th of February, or it might have happened on the 27th if you live in the Americas. Apologies for the delay in getting these, finalizing the all 12 signs, but I work with 6-month cycles. So what comes through in this reading is going to serve you over the next 6 months up until the Pisces full moon. Hello and welcome. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. All of this is going to bring in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that want to come through for you, my lovely Leos. Now I read for the rising signs. So for those of you who do not have Leo in the first house in your natal chart, look to the house it does fall in. Look to the themes of that house, and you want to apply those themes along with all the other meaning you've got going on in the sign of Leo to the messages that come through, because it will be as if that Leo energy has now energetically moved to the first house. So the astrology for the rising sign will always still link in. You've just got to add on your own natal chart Leo meaning on top of it. As always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Now, this wasn't an eclipse, even though, just realised this is fallen over. Maybe one of the little cats that live with me knocked that over. It's not an eclipse, but the North Node is in Pisces. So it's working with the eclipse intention and the North Node intention. But it's not an eclipse. We're going to have the Virgo full moon, which will be, and then the Aries new moon. So we're in eclipse season already, because we always feel that energy a lot bigger than we do the normal lunations. This is a gorgeous moon. I've done a collective reading on the exact astrology of how everybody's talking to each other, all the celestial bodies at the exact moment, and what frequency is that bringing in. And so in the collective reading, I've broken down the astrology in way more detail, connected to the most integrated and expansive intention of that new moon. Pulled collective tarot as well, and the reading was very powerful. Not surprising, because not only have we got the sun moon there in the sign of Pisces, Ceres was conjunct that moon, and we had Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune, and the North Node all hanging out at the later degrees. This moon was at 9 degrees and 40 minutes. So if you want a deeper dive on the intention of this moon with the bigger energy that's going to unfold over the next 6 months, pause this video, go watch the collective. Some really cool stuff came through in that, and then come back and watch and see how it affects the Leo energy with that as the baseline, because it does act as sort of the foundational energy for the all 12 signs. So in this reading, I'm going to be talking about the houses predominantly. I'm not really going to go into too much detail with the astrology, because that's all over in the collective reading. And I'm going to be pulling cards. Well, I'm going to be shuffling this deck. This tarot deck. It's a new deck. It's the first time I've ever used a non-Rider-Waite-Smith deck in this channel. I'm loving it. It's got a lot of fantastical images, and I'm really drawing on what's the image saying first, and then referencing the card itself and the traditional meanings. But I'm trying things differently in the way that I work with divination at the moment, and usually I shuffle for jumpers, but we're not doing that. I'm going to be shuffling this while I'm talking about the astrology for you, my lovely Leos. There will be jumpers while I'm doing that, but that's acting as sort of like the pre-shuffle energy, the context around what's going to show up here. So when I finish talking about the astrology, I'm going to take the first 5 cards from the top of the deck. So the reason why I'm doing this is, with that North Node in Pisces, it's allowing us to lean into trust with source and with the synchronicities in everything, right? So, I would recommend trying different forms of connecting to source, of trusting in the synchronicities, trusting in what's going on in everything, absolutely everything, because this is all about building that stronger connection within yourself to your reality of the magic around us. and working with establishing, okay, no, everything that's going on is in alignment. So, my lovely Leo risings, where is this happening for you? Well, this is happening in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is the outside world's resources and your interaction with it. So in a sort of more 3D energy, it can be about mortgages, loans, debt that you owe, debt that's owed to you. Got the 5 of Pentacles, as I say that, right? Scarcity energy. It can be about bonuses and commissions as well as inheritance, both 3D and cosmic inheritance. So it's more one-off chunks of resources or working with the resources of the outside world. Is this non-regular income. You know, the regular income's over in the 2nd house, which is Virgo, which will be an eclipse with 6 of Wands, moving away from scarcity to a place of recognition and a sense of victory. So the other side of the 8th house is it's the exchange between you and anything other than yourself, right? And this is where relationship dynamics can show up, right? The give and exchange of time, money, energy, ideas, intimacy with you and anybody else. And it's interesting that that 5 of Pentacles was the first card out in the pre-shuffle, because often I link the 8th house with scarcity complexes, right? Codependency, hyper independence and greed, or of not feeling you're getting the resources from the outside world, the relationships from the outside world. Perhaps you're giving all of your energy away and not getting it back, or taking everything and not giving in return. We really want things to be in balance, as well as a mindset of you don't need anything from anything other. Your energy and what's within you has the power to sustain you in every single way, right? Rather than saying, oh, I can't do this. Say you want to set up a small business and you're like, oh, I need that loan first, right? So you need that resource from the outside world before you can even do anything. Well, the trick is to really start to do the little things, do the things that you can do, and operate from that sense of autonomy that then allows this feedback loop with the outside world, where you're no longer in conflict, you're no longer in resistance to either lack or that you're not getting certain things in your life, right? And then when you're in this state of autonomy, then you're in a flow state, right? You're in a non-conflict state, which means source can come in and really facilitate. It is in fact your relationship dynamic and the resources of source. So it's a very psychic house, right? Edgar Cayce, a very famous psychic who's one of the people to help establish 5 of Swords. Conflict, moving away from conflict. That's exactly what I was talking about, of seeing the sense of domination and subjugation of what people have and what you don't have, or what you have, and then being gleeful that other people don't have it. Those kind of the battles of the mind around scarcity, around competition, around fear, all of that. Anyway, Edgar Cayce, he was one of the main people who helped establish the remote viewer protocol, which is another form of using our intuition to connect remotely to things. And he was very good at utilizing the resources of everybody around him, as well as utilizing the downloads, the resources from source. So you have a new moon here, right? Fresh new energy coming in around relationships with the outside world, around those kind of dynamics, right? Of letting go of that conflict, of letting go of that scarcity, and allowing the undulating synchronistic magic of Pisces to support you. So intentions to set around this new moon, and I do realize this is the day of the new moon. It is not, if you're watching this after the event, you can still set those intentions up, but you know, time's happening all at once. You can retrospectively implement. And so this is a great time to set intentions around being at peace, right? Being in that flow state with any sort of dynamic, and just show up and do the best that you can. You can set intentions to elevate the relationship dynamics, one with yourself and source, as well as with the outside world, right? Of intentions you could set is elevating your relationship with source, elevating your connection to abundance and synchronicities with the outside world, and trusting in that process and the unfoldment. Say you want that loan, you want that mortgage, You can set an intention to activate your alignment towards that which you need. Say you've struggled having healthy boundaries in relationships, or feeling like you can't show up as yourself, and being sort of perhaps overwhelmed by the other or the outside world, of establishing a stronger sense of what it is that you want from relationships and being able to commit to that. One of the flip sides with the eights is you can really ask to help highlight what may be blocked within you that stop healthy relationships coming in, that stopped you be, that sense of reciprocity in a really healthy way. And that's a very powerful thing that you can do around new moons, is to really ask source, ask the sun and the moon, ask everything to bring up something. So you may feel like, oh, I've done the work, but things still aren't manifesting in the way that you would like. And that's often because we've got an energy block within us that's very deep rooted that we may not even be consciously aware of. Or it's like the final part of the stage of the jigsaw piece that needs to be unraveled, and you can ask the moon to reveal that to you, and then do some really great healing work over that. And I think I already said, but setting the intention to establish a stronger connection to source and the resources of source, and be in alignment with that timeline that serves, right, that magic coming through, and trusting in it. If you've not seen the Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node transit series, it's in its own playlist. It's really easy to find. I cannot recommend it enough. The energy of this eclipse cycle, and that North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, even though this isn't an eclipse, it's still working with that energy, is going to the work that we do this year for soul retrieval and integration and alignment is profound. We're in a year 9, right? So we're closing out cycles and activating the intention. I got the Chariot come out as I say that. I love that, in alignment with what I was just saying in terms of your capacity to go out in the world and understand every difficulty that you've been through, every difficult relationship, all the sort of the blocks around resources, has served you to establish a deeper sense of wisdom, a deeper sense of, this is the Chariot card, it's so cute, a deeper sense of acknowledgement of the power behind all those things that's allowing you to be in alignment and move through the world, the Chariot, from a place of victory. You got the 2 victory cards, 6 of Wands and the Chariot, are big victory cards. But yeah, if you haven't seen that transit series, I really recommend it, because the energy that we're working with is so profound. I feel like my reality is completely dissolving in the best possible way. All of the difficulties are being reorientated into alignment, and it is wild. I love doing that transit so much. Right, so who rules? Well, we've got 10 of Cups and the 5 of Cups behind it. So release, you got 3 5s come up in the pre-shuffle. Releasing grief to get to that 10 of Cups. That kind of is like what I was saying with my realities dissolving into a more of an outward alignment of really, I'm really leaning into, I'm a Leo rising, which is why I'm talking about myself a bit more. I'm really leaning into trust that whatever's coming towards me is in alignment. Even if there are difficulties, even if there's struggles and wounds that are being brought up to the surface in order to be healed, that even if things aren't manifesting in like the speed and the way that I would really, really, really love, they're honoring the path and honoring what's happening. And I've noticed like more and more miracles are coming my way, and such. What's the Rolling Stones song? You can't always get what you want. Oh God, I used to be such a Rolling Stones fan. But if you try sometimes, you might just find you get what you need. And it actually serves for higher integration and more abundance down the path. So we're going to look to the ruler now. Again, 2 of Swords, balance, victory. We've got the 6 of Wands again, and we've got the Hanged Man. So that's a real alignment with and then the Queen of Cups underneath. A real alignment around perspective and trusting the path and knowing it's getting you where you need to, getting into a state of serenity. Page of Wands, new idea or new ways of instinctively working. So whoever rules Pisces is influencing it all times, and that's Jupiter. And Jupiter is over in Gemini. And Gemini is your 11th house of hopes and dreams, friends, groups and alliances, and reaping the benefits from your 10th house. So Jupiter's wanting to get you on track in terms of how you interact with the outside world, whether you're getting helping you move away from being dysregulated by it and staying in your own power. That's in alignment with you then manifesting your hopes and your dreams, of you connecting to soul family, being as again in a sense of, got that Page of Wands again, being able to be within your own frequency in groups, and not, Pisces being the relationship dynamics cannot have any boundaries, and so there's a real sense of getting the strength of your frequency that is allowing that magic and that unconditional love in relationships, but it's not separating you, it's not dissolving parts of you that are your true instincts, right? You're not getting distorted by the outside world. You're not getting distorted being in groups. You're able to show up and understand what you need, and not being because Jupiter is all about a deeper wisdom and a bigger faith of, if those things that you know in your heart are what makes you thrive in terms of those sort of interactions with the outside world, but you're not getting that, you're not getting dysregulated, and you're not being in conflict, remember all those fives, which is then allowing for that deeper confidence of you showing up in groups, you showing up of what you truly know you deserve from your 10th house, right? That's the life path, career energy, and the 11th is reaping the benefits from that, right? Of really being in a sort of a higher perspective, that where you may have been dysregulated in the past, you're actually standing. I just feel like a real core strength energy. Obviously Leo is the strength card in tarot, but that you're finding a great deal of wisdom about what's important to you when you're in those scenarios. And Jupiter and this new moon are going to be bringing in healthier relationships, whether it's resources, got the Page of Swords, new ways of thinking, new ways of communicating. They're in alignment with your power. I keep just wanting to talk about power, Leo. Eight of Cups, walking away from unconscious love languages that don't serve you, right? And what this feels like is a 6-month cycle of establishing a great deal of inner strength, that is, you're not getting shaken by your faith and trust in the universe of what there may be certain stages of relationships and resources that you've got to go through that, yes, it may not be exactly what you want, but it's going to be teaching you so much of, oh, this is what I actually truly want. So often we can get scenarios show up that just help solidify what we truly need, rather than without worrying that it's going to always be like that. It's just showing you examples of, oh no, that's actually not for me. I'm still going to operate from my own frequency without being in conflict of this thing that I'm not particularly 100% about, and then you'll start to see it show up in its truest form. My root chakra is wiggling at that. I love that. So overall, I can see this as a 6 months of your solidifying of your hopes and dreams at a higher frequency, and source matching that in the dynamics that are showing up, the reciprocity with the outside world. But there are going to be certain scenarios that are highlighting where that's not happening, and you're not getting shaken by it. Now, Mercury rules Gemini, so Mercury is influencing Jupiter, and Mercury is over in Pisces. So you've got a feedback loop. This is called mutual reception. Mercury and Jupiter are in each other's signs, they're in each other's realms, they're basically psychically hotlined to each other and facilitating each other, right? So Mercury's picking up the clues, the synchronicities, the downloads from source, the awareness of communication in relationships, how you're communicating about how you work in the outside world and what it is that you need, want, desire, hope for, and Jupiter's helping get that bigger picture of not, really bringing that into an alignment. I can see lots of really supportive energy coming in from source. Cut the deck, got the 5 of Wands. You've got all the 5s showing up in the preamble of of no longer being in fear over the frustration and the conflict that may be around you, right? So often when we change our frequency, it takes a while to integrate and show up in the 3D world. I got the Page of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. Hold on to your own power, right? Know the clarity in which you're communicating with Source, with the outside world. Be true to that. And keep doing it. 8 of Pentacles. Right. Okay. So 1, 2. I could talk about this for ages. 3. So we're doing things differently. At the center, we have, let's see if that's all facing, yeah. We have the core energy of this new moon, the core intention that's going to unfold over the next 6 months. We have what's being closed out in the lead up to the new moon. It doesn't have to be negative. It's just a closing out of a particular part of a cycle. The root energy that goes with the core, the crown, in regards to the core, and then how to work with it. We're also going to be pulling some oracle, I don't know what's going on with my words today. I'm using 2 oracle decks, and we'll get some cards from those decks at the end of the reading. So let's see what's at the core. What's at the core of this? We've got the 6 of Pentacles. This is perfect for the 8th house, because often the 5 of Pentacles was one of the first cards that came out. And predominantly when I'm doing 8th house transits, that 5 of Pentacles most of the time shows up, because it's feeling left out in the cold, scarcity complexes, run down, exhausted, separate from Source, because they're outside of a church in the traditional Rider-Waite. And this is following it. This is the next card. This is about balance, right? This is being given that which you need, right? You see this figure. We've got this nun who is holding a robe, and this figure who has stripped themselves bare. They've got to their true essence. And this is the strength that I was feeling within you, the power of the vulnerability of really getting to the core of what it is that you need and what it is that you want, stripping back all of the 5s, the conflict, the frustration, the drama, the sort of scarcity mindset, victim mindset. And I say that really mindfully. I've been in that space for most of my life. It only feels very solid now that I'm not in that, right? Of just being present, showing up, not being in complainer mode, not being in grief mode. And she is about to be clothed, right? She's about to be brought, the nun is obviously linked into religion, but we link that into Source coming in and giving you what you need. But it's in the 3D. So there's a spiritual cloak coming around you, right? This protection energy. You're getting what you need. Oh my goodness, that's so perfect for the 8th house. But it's because you've done the work. Because so often in the 8th house, we stop giving in or being reciprocal as a vessel with the outside world, whether it's with Source or relationships, because of pain, because of certain situations that have happened, that we then pull back and we get defensive. We put walls up. We see this figure, they are unclothed, right? Their mane, their hair, their Leo mane is covering them. There's that vulnerability of the courage that it takes to get to that point and let go of all those walls, of strip that bare, and Source is coming in, the outside world is coming in and giving you what you need. Okay, so what's the cycle that's being closed out? We have the Ace of Swords. And this is kind of it's very similar energy here. We have this figure, right? Oh my goodness, this tiny little figure could be the inner child of those distorted love languages, where they've taken off those distortions, right? They've got this figure. Look at this, Look at that, right? So this is the process that you started. I said you did the work, right? This is showing up here. And this is the closing out of the cycle of initiating that work, of honoring and giving that up to this hawk. And hawks are, obviously very higher perspective energy. They zoom out. They bring messages. They are the messages between source and the 3D realm of the skies and the earth, the heaven and the earth. And this figure is going, here, take this. I don't need this anymore. But they're little. They're growing with it. They're expanding with it into the fire. You can't make it up. This deck gives me so much life. And that Ace of Swords is that new perspective of like letting go of the old mindsets, letting go of that Five of Swords, letting go of the perspective that things are always going to be the same way based on the previous experiences. And this feels like such great wisdom, right? This real protector energy of like, they're going to take that far and wide. It's no longer in your remit. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is so good. Right. What's at the root? I don't really feel like I need to say anything more about this. At the root, the 10 of Wands. Now, I love this card. It has given me so many different messages so far. But this is at the root of this energy, right? And the 10 of Wands, what I feel with this card for you, my lovely Leos, again, you've got 3 cards so far where they're all unclothed, right? So I kept saying strength. I kept saying your power, your frequency, right? And there's 2 messages here. And one is that the hubbub of the outside world, all of those distorted dynamics, all of the expectations, all of the pressure, the weight, is no longer connected to you anymore, right? And this is through this process of clarity, right? I nearly said purification, but I struggle with the word because purity has so many sort of distorted connotations to it. But this clarity of your frequency, you're no longer entangled with the drama of the outside world, right? The 8th house is that kind of where we absorb all of the collective energy, and there's a real sense of sanctity of your own energy here. It's not that it's not going on. And you see this figure, then they're not even looking at any of it. It's not, they can't even see it, right? So there's this element of you going about your way, your frequency, your instincts. We've got that Page of Wands, we got the 6 of Wands. Fire is instinct, obviously Leo energy, that you are going about your way. You are not letting the clutter of the outside world really get to you. The other thing I get with this is the vast complexity of the interaction with the multidimensional sphere, right? With Source and all the resources of Source, all the wisdom from Source, all of the possibilities and experiences that you're able to connect to from this clarity of frequency. And that you're funneling it through your autonomy, your experience, through your understanding, your instincts. Oh, they just got the hands over my head. Venus is about to go retrograde in Aries, which is your 9th house of perspective, right? It feels like big liberation that gets you, that your frequency simply isn't being disrupted, but you're able to then work with the complexity. Right, at the crown. Ooh, we got the 3 of Pentacles. Now we've got to figure who is robed. Right, they're robed in this fiery energy, this kind of sacral chakra frequency of your creation energy, of your power to create through your own understanding. And so this is at the crown, right? This is like your higher self frequency, and they're wearing a crown. And energy's coming towards them. Energy's coming towards you, right? Whether that be metaphysical or in the 3D realm, right? This figure feels feels kind of high priestessy, as in they're drawing towards things towards them. But we've got all that fire still. So it's you, even though she's very still, I still feel like it's you. You're going about your day. You're going about operating from your frequency, and it's drawing things towards you. It's drawing support towards you, and it's pentacles. So it's showing up in the 3D realm. We've got all these mountains representing the wisdom around, both within you and what you're then experiencing, stuff that serves you for the long term, right? Mountains that serve us for the long term. And then, so yeah, that's really quite simple. And in the traditional Rider-Waite, and the energy of the 3 of Pentacles is about mastery of self and collaboration. And now this figure is, this is wild. Look, going from being naked to clothed and with a crown. This this over this next 6 months of this real and knowing of your own self, and knowing what your needs are, and stepping into your regal divine energy, that is allowing for collaboration with the outside world at a higher frequency. Oh God, the imagery on this is wild. Okay, how to work with this. We have the world, major arcana showing up. And again, this figure is now closed, right? This is this awareness of all your skills and talents, all the parts of yourself, all the layers, because you stripped yourself down and now you're decked out in finery. You're not holding on to the old patterns. You're holding on to that which brings you joy, pleasure, play, amusement. It's a very abundant energy here. And there's the clarity of what this figure, if you think for so long, there were no mirrors, not really. We weren't able to see ourselves very clearly. And now, because you cleansed yourself, because you stripped yourself bare back to the truth of your soul's frequency, which is you, just without the conditioning, you were then able to play out in the world with this sense of clarity. And now the world, your true energy is being reflected back to you. And the world card is Saturn's card, and Saturn's in the 8th, right? So you've been working through this very mature understanding of relationship dynamics, of the exchange between you and the outside world. And we create our own reality, guys. This is just facts. Right, I'm going to be doing some collective readings for the overall energy of this year, and I've shied away from talking about we create our own reality, because I know that can be really triggering. I've certainly gone through so many, I want to swear, difficult situations in my life that if you told me 10 years ago or even 5 years ago that I created my own reality, I'd be like, what the actual F? That's nonsense. But unfortunately, this is the vibe, and there's past life stuff, there's collective stuff that's all interfering with everything, which is why the I am is so important, of stripping yourself back to the truth of you, untangling yourself, right? And then through this process of then creating, the world is opening up, right? But it's a reflection of your divine strength. And it's, this is very abundant. So this could be about abundance coming in, and they're wanting you to really honor that truth, that this message has come through, and go out into the world with that, right? And this can also relate to if there's difficult situations, that whatever with other people, they are all you. And rather than take on board what they're doing, right? This is honoring of how you show up, right? And not letting it be distorted, while giving love and compassion through all the different experiences you as source are choosing to have. So it's just honoring the whole world with love, while still being clear in how you want to show up, and not let it dysregulate you. That is so unbelievably powerful. My key word for the world, the key phrase for the world card is know thyself and the world will open up to you. So they're just saying keep doing what you've been doing. And admittedly, like this, that figure is in a forest, right? So this is kind of linking into what I was saying at the beginning, that there may be certain scenarios that happen where you might feel like the forest is closing in, that you can't see clearly. Right, that there may be some entanglement that still shows up over this process. Remember, we're at the beginning of this eclipse cycle, or the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo, that things are going to come up that are going to be very profound healing moments, and they want you to really then focus back to you, right? And maybe do mantras or meditations of the world is the world is reflecting my frequency, and pull that back into you. She's also wearing a cape, right? And admittedly, this figure has been given a robe, and this figure now has a cape. Also kind of fire energy there with the truth and the clarity of the white, of knowing your truth, knowing your own frequency, and clothing yourself in that. Look at these cards. Okay, Leo. Animo tufiela. We're just getting the oracle cards now. I cannot get over the symmetry of this energy. And I think it's also really highlighting that you're no longer here anymore. It feels like your inner child there's so much peace there, with the sacral chakra as well. The fifth house of your creation energy I link it into the inner child stuff, but this figure's grown up, right? And there's such an abundant nature of what they're wearing that they're able to play in the world again. They're able to enjoy the experiences and the pleasure of existing. I just feel like we want one more. Diceni o tuffala dicenima dufinia dianimo tuela dicena. So let me get the books. Dialama dicenima. So I'll wait until you've got number 1, the first card in Rainbow Brainskull. Relax, it's still just the loading screen. Sometimes we forget everything that comes before you press play. Trust the process and take the time to warm up, because the game is about to begin. We always wish that we had more time to prepare. Right now, you actually do. Now, this is linked into the fact this is a new moon, right? And this card is all about rebalancing. And so this is the intention of the moon of bringing that in so you can activate the world, activate the 3 of Pentacles and this glorious 10 of Wands. That there is going to be a time at the beginning of this new moon to just chill, right? And again, show up and do the best that you can in your own frequency. Realize that you are cultivating this energy and you're building to a bigger activation that's coming further down the line. And that really feels like they're saying, yes, you've let go of this, but now's the time to cultivate that strength, cultivate that sovereignty of your energy, and learn to trust and learn to be open to all the experiences that are coming. Because, as I keep wanting to talk about how there's going to be things that show up that you're like, oh, but that feels like the old pattern. And know that it is the prep work before the game is really beginning, right? That is kind of this. It's a blend of both of the worlds, of like the ultimate abundance and miracles. I was talking like sometimes things aren't going in the framework that you'd like them to because there's lots of healing that's going on. And this feels like, there's still some things to do, right, that are going to lead to this more abundant frequency where it's less of the healing work. Now, you got the transition card, and you got this. It's been a recent transit. I can't remember if it's the Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node card that you got, or it was the Aquarius new moon, but you've had this very recently, right? So we've got transition. And that's sort of like and the next card, yeah, it's all very in alignment. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. Transition can be described as the passage from one stage to another. However deeply or mildly it impacts our lives, transition always implies change of some sort. Now, in modern astrology, they associate Scorpio being in the 8th house. I don't work with that practice. I find it to be quite limiting. But the death card is the Scorpio card, right? And there is this element of transformation of the 8th house, because we transform with our interaction with anything other than ourselves in the outside world. It's a very powerful thing I've had in my life a lot recently. I've been pushing myself into different spaces and applying what I've been working on internally out in the world, and it kind of locks it in. We want things to stay the same. We want to stay in the comfort zone we've created. Unfortunately, change is the one certainty in life that we can all count on. Change is necessary to allow room for the new to emerge and the old to pass. Change is necessary for growth to occur. Change is a fundamental universal law. Transition describes this process of change, a time when things are moving, morphing, and shifting. And in the midst of this process, it's common for nothing to feel clear, comfortable, or safe. Being pushed and pulled from our existing state into one that is unfamiliar isn't easy. And so often, because we've been in like cycles of scarcity, cycles of grief, cycles of imbalance, that when the opposite of that starts showing up, we can really struggle to accept it. We can really there's parts of our unconscious spaces that, because they're so comfortable with those old paradigms, can distort our true feelings of the change, because we're still holding on to that. And this just feels like this is helping let go of the, remember that 8 of Cups came up in the preamble and that 6 of Wands came up loads of, like, the 6 of Wands for me is someone who instinctively is like, right, I'm going to go and do this thing. There's challenges, but I'm going to come out the other side. I'm going to be victorious, right? I'm going to feel really good about myself. And this all feels like part of it, of like, really trust what's going to be showing up over the next 6 months, because that strength and the power behind it is phenomenal. And be mindful that there may be some unconscious things within you that are struggling to shift and change themselves into the new frequency. Genie, they're shaking their head, not in like a no, but like a recalibration. Yeah. Being pushed and pulled from our existing state into one that is unfamiliar isn't easy. And the most feared transition is one that we all face eventually: death. And even though I don't ever really talk about it on this channel because it's not relevant for collective readings, this is the house of death. It is. And death is all about the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, right? This transition energy on a metaphysical level. Because we have so little understanding of the true nature of our existence and of our connection to the cosmos, we tend to fear death as a perceived ending. As in this activation, the snake is the traditional symbol for death and transition. We're in the year of the wood snake, guys. In many cultures and belief systems, due to its perceived ability to be reborn many times during its lifetime by shedding its skin. Behind it, the background shows not only the grid of the flower of life, the connection with the earth plane, but also the Merkaba, a reference to our existential ability to traverse between layers of time and dimension. The colours indigo, violet, and magenta are indications of our deep spiritual connection to the cosmos and of the whole of existence, making any transition but a moment in ongoing infinite journey. Try this. Take a moment to look at the transition image. How do you flow with the transitions in your life? What transitions are you afraid of? Look at the last transition that you went through and remember the gifts that came because of it. What will your next transition be? Go outside and see how nature goes through a constant cycle of death and rebirth in order to continue life. Celebrate your transitions. And that is the transition away from scarcity and into support and into your own sovereignty and into a reflection of that in your 3D world, in the outside world. But remember, this is new moon energy. It's going to unfold. So, final oracle card. The more you create, the more the universe is. And I felt called to talk about the sacral chakra, which is your creation energy, the 5th house, that inner child stuff. The universe needs your creativity if it's ever going to grow into its full self. From our tiny perspectives, there's already more than enough content, but the universe is hungry for more. After all, that's why it made you. Find the joy, find the creativity, find the pleasure in all things, the miracles in all things, right? Step out of the 5s, step out of the conflict, out of the frustration, and see it as all a pure act of creation. Rather than focusing on the lack, on the scarcity, focus on the abundant nature of source and the miracles that are possible for all of us. We just got to get over our minds thinking that that's not true, it's not rational. Leo, profound, powerful reading. I'm genuinely blown away by the imagery of those initial tarot cards. It's stunning. I hope you enjoyed this reading as much as I did. I hope it resonated. As always, an honor and a privilege to read for you. If you liked it, hit the like button. Leave me a comment. I'd love to find out and hear from you about this new moon or that North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo transit. How's it showed up for you already? Leo, be good to yourselves. Be good to those around you. Safe travels and be well until we meet again.